Why masturbation makes you lose motivation. The truth you've never heard. What if I told you that one of the most private habits you have might be silently rewiring your brain? Not in a dramatic, life-destroying way. Not in a moral or religious way. But in a psychological way, a way so subtle, so invisible, that most people never notice it until years later when they suddenly wake up and wonder, why don't I feel motivated anymore? Why does everything feel boring? Why do I know what I need to do, but can't get myself to do it? Because here's the uncomfortable secret no one teaches you. Sometimes your brain isn't lazy. Sometimes you're not unmotivated. Sometimes you're just overstimulated. And one of the biggest sources of that overstimulation is something almost everyone does, often without thinking, without intention, and without understanding what it actually does inside the brain. See, modern neuroscience has revealed something strange. Your brain can't tell the difference between pleasure earned and pleasure taken, between the dopamine you get from achieving a real goal and the dopamine you get from a quick private escape. In other words, your brain rewards you the same way, whether you built something, improved something, achieved something, or whether you simply release dopamine artificially through a habit you barely think twice about. And here's where everything changes. When your brain receives the dopamine before the effort, it stops caring about the effort. It stops craving progress. It stops pushing you to grow. Because as far as your brain is concerned, you already got the reward. This is the part no one talks about, the part hidden beneath jokes, memes, and internet culture. Not the moral side, not the religious side, but the psychological cost, the quiet draining of ambition, the subtle shrinking of discipline, the slow fading of hunger, drive, and purpose. And the scariest part? You don't notice it happening. One day you're motivated, and then slowly, almost invisibly, life becomes heavier, goals feel farther, and your future feels blurred. But what if this isn't your fault? What if this isn't a weakness? What if your brain has simply been tricked into thinking it doesn't need to work anymore? Today, we're going to uncover the truth you've never heard. Let's start with a feeling almost everyone knows but rarely admits. You wake up in the morning, and nothing feels exciting. Your goals feel far away, your plans feel heavy. And even though you know what you should do, study, work, improve, build, your body whispers, maybe later, you're not sad. You're not depressed, you're just empty. Like the spark that once pushed you forward has quietly disappeared, and the strangest part, you don't even know why. You tell yourself it's laziness or burnout, or lack of discipline. But deep down, something feels off, like your brain is tired before the day even begins. This video isn't about guilt. It's not about shame. It's not about telling you what you should or shouldn't do. It's about understanding yourself, your mind, your habits, your psychology. Because here's the truth most people never hear. Your brain is constantly learning from you, even from the habits you think don't matter, especially the ones done in secret, especially the ones done to escape stress, boredom, or loneliness. And one of those habits, for millions of people, is masturbation. Not because it's bad, not because it's dirty, but because nobody explains what it does to the reward system of your brain. You see, the brain is wired for survival and achievement. It rewards you with dopamine when you do hard things, when you chase something, build something, or accomplish something meaningful. But what happens when your brain receives a dopamine reward without doing anything difficult? What happens when your brain learns that pleasure can be triggered instantly, with no struggle, no growth, no challenge? Over time, it starts preferring the shortcut. It starts choosing comfort over effort, escape over progress, pleasure over purpose. And that's the psychological trap we are exploring today. By the end of this video, you'll understand something powerful. This isn't about quitting a habit. It's about taking back your motivation, your focus, your hunger for life. Because your brain was designed for greatness, but sometimes without realizing it, we teach it to settle for less. Before we dive into science, let's zoom into a silent pattern that millions experience but almost nobody talks about. Have you ever noticed how it starts? Not with desire, not with passion, but with boredom, a long day, a stressful moment, a feeling you don't want to sit with. Maybe you're overwhelmed with work. Maybe you feel lonely. Maybe you're frustrated with life and need a quick escape. And then the mind whispers, just do something that feels good. Just for a moment. You tell yourself it's harmless. And yes, in the moment, it is harmless. A few minutes of stimulation, a release of tension, a quick reset. You feel relaxed afterward, lighter, calmer, but the next day, something subtle happens. You don't feel as driven. You don't feel as sharp. The fire inside you feels dimmer. You want to work, but you don't feel like it. You want to focus, but your mind keeps drifting. You want to chase your goals, but something inside holds you back. And you don't connect the dots, because what happened last night felt so small, so private, so unrelated to your ambitions. But psychology tells a different story. Every time you take the instant reward, your brain learns something. Why work hard when pleasure can be accessed instantly? You don't notice this lesson being taught. It sits in the background of your mind, quiet but powerful. And over weeks, months, or years, the same cycle repeats. You feel stressed, gives you escape into pleasure, gives your brain gets dopamine. You feel lonely, gives you escape into pleasure, gives your brain gets dopamine. You feel bored, gives you escape into pleasure, gives your brain gets dopamine. Slowly, your brain becomes conditioned. Don't solve the problem, escape it. This is how the cycle begins. Not with addiction, not with obsession, but with repetition. A quiet loop where the brain is rewarded for avoiding effort. And this is the part most people miss. You're not losing motivation because you're weak. You're losing motivation because your brain has been trained to choose comfort over challenge. But why does this happen? And what exactly is going on in the mind? That's where the real psychological story begins. Here's where everything changes, the part most people never learn, and the part psychology quietly reveals when you look deeper. To understand why motivation drops, you have to understand dopamine, the chemical that drives your desire to act, build, chase, improve, and grow. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but that's only half the truth. Dopamine is actually the motivation chemical. It makes you want things. It pushes you toward effort. It fuels ambition. And here's the twist. Your brain releases dopamine before pleasure, not during it. So every time you chase an easy release, you're not just getting pleasure, you're getting dopamine for doing nothing. That means your brain learns. Effort equals unnecessary. Reward equals instant. Once that association forms, you step into a mental trap without even noticing it. Suddenly, tasks feel heavier. Goals feel farther. Your mind feels slower. Your push becomes weaker. Not because you don't care, but because your dopamine system is being drained and overstimulated at the same time. It's like flooding an engine with too much fuel. The car doesn't go faster. It stalls. Psychologists call this the dopamine deficit cycle. You overstimulate. Your brain reduces dopamine sensitivity. Normal life feels boring. Hard work feels impossible. Motivation collapses. And here's the darker truth. Your brain starts craving the quick hit more than the life you actually want. Why? Because the brain prefers the shortest path to reward. Imagine two paths. Path A. Study, build, grow, sweat, push, fail, try again. Reward after weeks or months. Path B. A few minutes. Pleasure instantly. Which path do you think the primitive brain chooses? Not the one that builds your future, the one that gives pleasure now. And that's the real conflict. Not between you and your goals, but between your dopamine system and your long-term ambitions. This is why your motivation fades. Why does your energy drop? Why do your habits change? Your brain isn't broken. It's following the dopamine you're feeding it. But here's the part that shocks most people. You can reverse this entire pattern, not by quitting something, but by understanding how to retrain the brain, and that revelation is where the real story turns. Here's the moment where everything comes together, the part psychology rarely explains in simple words. We've talked about dopamine, we've talked about instant rewards. But now we reach the real core. Your brain doesn't get addicted to pleasure. It gets addicted to escape. This is the truth nobody tells you. Because the real reason motivation collapses is not the act itself. It's the emotional pattern connected to it. Think about it. Most people don't do it because of desire. They do it because of boredom, stress, loneliness, anxiety, avoidance, restlessness, feeling stuck. And when your brain learns, whenever I feel bad, I escape instantly, then guess what? You stop learning how to sit with discomfort. You stop building emotional resilience. You stop letting stress push you to grow. Instead of facing life, you run from it. Instead of solving problems, you soothe them. Instead of building strength, you shut down pressure. This is the real psychological trap, not dopamine. Not pleasure, not biology, the loss of frustration tolerance, the loss of the ability to sit with uncomfortable feelings, the very feelings that normally push people toward growth. Here's the twist: great athletes, high performers, entrepreneurs, creators, all of them have one thing in common. They can sit with discomfort, they can feel urges and not react. They can feel pressure and keep going. But when the brain is trained to escape even the smallest emotional discomfort, something slowly dies inside: the drive, the hunger, the spark. Because every big goal in life requires you to endure discomfort. Studying when you don't want to, working when you're tired, pushing when you're bored, facing challenges when they scare you. If your brain has learned to run from discomfort, it cannot learn to chase greatness. That's the truth. The lack of motivation is not a flaw, it's not a weakness, it's not laziness. It's conditioning, repeated, strengthened, internalized. But here's the shocking part, the part people never realize. The same brain that was trained to escape can be trained to rise. You can reset your dopamine, you can rebuild your drive, you can relearn how to handle discomfort, and once you do that, your motivation doesn't just come back, it becomes stronger than ever. Now that we understand the deep psychology behind why masturbation can drain motivation, it's time to reflect on what this really means for life, growth, and the human mind. The first realization is powerful. This is not your fault. Your brain is simply following patterns it learned long ago, patterns meant to protect you from discomfort. In the short term, escape feels good, it's natural, it's human. But in the long term, repeated escapes quietly erode your hunger, ambition, and resilience. The second insight is hopeful. This process can be reversed. Your brain is plastic. It can learn new habits. It can relearn how to reward real effort. By gradually reducing instant gratification and intentionally facing discomfort, you can restore the brain's natural reward system. Motivation can return, stronger and more sustainable than ever. Start small. Notice when your brain seeks shortcuts. Pause, observe, delay. Build resilience with tiny actions, finishing a task, going for a run, studying, or creating. Each success rebuilds dopamine pathways associated with achievement rather than escape. The final lesson is universal. Motivation is a skill, not a trait. It's not about shame or discipline. It's about understanding your mind, the patterns it has learned, and giving it the right experiences to thrive. When you respect your brain's wiring and guide it carefully, you regain control over your focus, energy, and ambition. And the most profound truth? Your struggles with motivation are not a weakness. They are a signal, a map pointing to how your brain has adapted to survival. And once you understand that map, you can navigate your way toward growth, drive, and fulfillment. The truth is clear. Your loss of motivation is not a flaw, a weakness, or a moral failing. It is a result of how your brain has learned to seek instant relief instead of facing discomfort. Every time you choose the shortcut of instant pleasure, your brain reinforces a habit of avoidance, quietly dulling your hunger, focus, and ambition. But here's the empowering part. The same brain that was trained to escape can be retrained to strive. Motivation is not a fixed trait, it's a skill. By understanding your brain's patterns, deliberately resisting instant gratification, and embracing small challenges, you can rebuild your internal drive, restore your focus, and feel the thrill of real achievement again. The journey won't be instantaneous. It requires awareness, patience, and consistency. But each step, each small action, strengthens the pathways associated with effort, accomplishment, and lasting satisfaction. Remember, your mind is not your enemy. It's a tool capable of immense growth if guided correctly. If you found this insight valuable, Stay tuned for more explorations into the hidden patterns of the human mind. Understanding how we think is the first step toward transforming how we live and unlocking the motivation that has always been inside you.